were you into, you know, the self-improvement business or like ideas of it before? Were you reading like leadership books and stuff while you were still doing the?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I was brought into that practice of the firm back in the late 80s, I was brought in by a partner that had just come down from Philadelphia to Atlanta. And he was the most, of all the partners I'd ever worked with, the most self-improvement focused partner I'd ever met. The very first thing that he did when he brought me into the practice is he said, I want you to do two things. I want you to go out to Dallas and spend a week at Zig Ziglar's Born to Win course, and I want you to come back and tell us about it because we may want to do that as a firm. And then I want you to pick an Outward Bound course, and I want you to bring that back to the firm and tell us if that might be something that we could bring to our leadership group. And he had at the time, but this was before DVDs and before MP3 players, he had a whole wall of cassettes from Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, I mean a whole library of them. And he allowed any of us to check them out for as long as we wanted to. And before that, I read, but I really didn't get into self-improvement until I paired up with him. I mean, he was a mentor for me. He continued to be an executive coach and business coach of mine up until about 2 years ago, and then he's kind of backed away from the business. So he's always been there for me. I had an executive coach while I was at Coopers and Lybrand before him. So I've always been attuned to development and learning. He kind of escalated my interest in it, and it became something that was just part of who I was.
Who was one of those tapes or books that you read that was first really inspired you? Tony Robbins or Zig Ziglar, or who was that?
Well, you know, I'm partial to Zig Ziglar because I was out there for a full week when he was this was back when he ran it. It was him before before his death. So he was there, and you know, I sat in a chair like this next to him. We're in a small room. We did a lot of breakout sessions with him. But I also did something similar with Stephen Covey. I've been to Brian Tracy live. I've been to Tony Robbins live. I don't know if there's anyone in particular that I'm most attached to, but Zig Ziglar kind of holds a special place in my heart. I liked his style. He kind of had a Baptist preacher kind of style that kind of resonated with me. And it was just common sense things that really made a difference, and things that I still think about
today. No, that's fantastic.